What's going on, everybody? This is Patch, 1878 Casuals, joined with our boy English, Mad Face in it, and our top boy of Los Angeles, Bandito Mike. Talking lots of new shit today, potential new owners that are coming in, and perhaps some questions or concerns we have. What it would be like, state ownership, an American consortium, and then also our boy, our dream, knight in shining armor, Mr. Jim Ratcliffe, owner of Ineos. And then expectations and hopes for new owners, investment in the stadium in Carrington, how long before it's right for them to start taking out dividends if that's something that they're going to do. And then obviously one of the most crucial parts, the heart and soul of the club is the supporters and their input and making sure that there's an open communication between the supporters and the owners, because that is not something we've seen the last 17 years with the fucking rats right now, as we all know. So kicking it off, first off, English, talking about potential new owners. We've heard some things about, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Kuwait. We've heard fucking Apple's interested. That's been kiboshed. I don't think that was ever true. So what do you reckon? I mean, obviously we know the sorts of owners we want, but what we want and what's realistic in this situation may be two different things.
Well, I think it's like, I try and tell you guys about the transfer windows when you guys start going crazy about that. If you've been around football long enough as a supporter or anything else, you'll know that you're just giving yourself an ulcer. He said, she said, maybe gossip rumor. Who knows? I mean, I as I said before, I don't see Glazers selling until they're ready to sell, no matter what they say or what people think or how bad it is. They're still making money. They're still owners of Manchester United, for Christ's sake. Our dream obviously would be Ratcliffe. I don't see, as an Englishman, another Saudi group, another group from the Middle East coming in as a consortium to buy the English football club. I don't think they'll allow it. And they could. I just don't see it happening. I mean, at some point, football in England's got to be football in England. It's becoming very, very obviously foreign players, etc., etc. I personally think there has to be a limit. Not that they shouldn't be allowed to play in England, but I think there should be a limit, because otherwise we don't develop the English talent, and that's when that portrays itself in the World Cup. I think the most important thing as a supporter is, yes, the input of the fans. As fans, we also have to realize that someone coming in with that kind of money as an investment is also in business. They're not doing it as a favor to us, right? They want to make money as well. We have to understand that it has to be a happy medium. I like the example of Wrexham, right? I like the way Ryan Reynolds came in. He discussed it with the supporters first. He got 110% approved from them as he's moving forward. I know it's a slightly different scale, but it really struck me. Well, one of the things that I think that the buyers have to realize and remember, I was speaking to Bandito the other day, and I didn't realize that when he went to Manchester, they threw him out when he was trying to take a picture, right, with Stevie's flag. Isn't that right, Mike?
Yeah, so it had the old inner city gibbers, the railway sign on it, and the guy's like, no, you can't have that on the ground. He wanted to kick me off of the grounds completely. Yeah. See,
what these people that work there have to realize and remember, what the people who buy it have to remember, is that you've just made a 6,000-mile journey, right, to honor our boy who's no longer with us, regardless if you can ever go back there again, if you've ever been there before, to honor him, something that he could never do, right? Now, it's like Patchy and I talk about celebrities in Los Angeles and your encounters with them and how they behave. They have a certain lifestyle and they have to get used to it. They have to accept they have fans and they have people that it's their dream to meet them. And they have to remember that Manchester United is massive to people. It's people's life and soul. If you make that trek and they turn around and kick you out, what is that? Okay, so the biggest thing for me, I think, with the new ownership is, that's why I'm so for Jim, is got to remember the heart and soul of Manchester United is Manchester. It's the fans, right? But I do believe that as fans, we are going to have to make happy mediums somewhere, okay? Because life goes on, the world changes, and it will become, I think, even more commercial. The grounds, but I don't want to become so sterile as some of the American grounds that I go to. You know what I'm saying? That's my thoughts so far.
Yeah. What about you, Face? What do you think?
it's a massive project. It's going to take. I think if it's someone going to buy whatever the buying price is, you're almost going to think you want to double it for the size of this project.
It's
Because
there's definitely
the
a tax on
infrastructure's
it.
yeah, and we're trying to get caught up to about 4 clubs, and it's just, I mean, what everything needs to be fixed. I know people don't like the Saudi owners, and I know there's Jim Ratcliffe. Isn't there a consortium led by somebody?
That the
What's
one
Beck's on?
I think there was that one with Michael Knighton, but I don't think anybody really ever believed in that as being the solution, really.
Sounds
So
like, but it's
there's
basically Ratcliffe and the Saudis.
no,
Couple
so
of
there's been several, and like English was saying, this is just, rumored, or no one has officially
Well, first,
put a bid.
let me start off by saying I believe it when I see it. I didn't know the Glazers. I haven't won my trust. As much as I want them out of here, I feel like they're trying to get people to invest, not buy. And we got to be aware of that, because I think they're trying to get more money in their pockets. They're trying to get little squeezes for more money. And I'm worried about that. But then on the same breath, I feel if we're going to sell, I think we're going to get better owners than the Glazers, because if these people do their research, they're going to realize we need to talk to these supporters. This grounds needs to be fixed. There's a lot of problems here, and I think it's universally known. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, I think every potential buyer or investor has to know what they're getting themselves into, and knowing full well that they may not be making any money for a while because it's so poorly run.
Yeah.
And they see over the course of the 17 years how much we've declined, and how it's just.
You've got to remember that there's the business of football and there's the football business. Okay.
Right.
So, what I mean? There's two different entities. With the Manchester United, as we love it, is playing football, right? They're getting into the business of football. That's what, one of the things Neville always used to say. He said, look, we had the best football players in the world at the time, and we had the best people for that part of the business at the time. Let them do this and let them do that. You can't mix it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we need to get back to getting the best, though. That's one thing.
Yeah, Bandito, what do you think? I'm sure you've heard a couple things brewing around and stuff, and what do you reckon?
Yeah, so the folks at Ineos, which is Jim Ratcliffe's company, their sporting venture has said they would expect a return, not in full, but a return after 3 years. That's kind of the way they run their sports portfolio.
Well, that's ambitious.
So they want to start seeing, recouping some of their money in 3 years. So obviously, anyone who buys the club is gonna have to, buy the 700 million pounds of debt.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's look at what Chelsea did. So in their bid, you had to include, I think the owners included 1.7 billion pounds on top of the value of the club, and directed that towards infrastructure. So redeveloping
Chelsea was forced sale.
Redeveloping the bridge, and redeveloping in the club. That was expressly written in the contract before they bought that club. So Jim Ratcliffe has said, he's a man of business, and he doesn't let his heart get in the way of that. And so even though he loves United, and I think that he really does as a real fan, Ineos as an entity would still want to see, they would still want to run it as a business and as a profit. And then we have some of these these tech companies, their interests would be different. They want streaming rights and that type of thing. They want access to the, almost 1 billion fans worldwide. They want that audience. And they usually build, top quality, stadiums and those things if they would do it.
But right,
And then to
World
what
Cup,
Matt Face was saying, like state ownership, uh, they don't want to make a dime. Profit is not their interest. Their interest
Right.
is sports washing. Their interest is to,
And that's the Saudi group.
we'll talk about Dubai in particular, right? So Dubai and Abu Dhabi are neighboring cities in the
They
Arab
compete.
Emirates. Yeah, so they want to one up, Qatar and Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia, and obviously the issues that are in those countries. They want to be known for sporting
Something else.
yeah, something else. So it's sports washing, right? So they don't need to see
thinking
a
horse
profit.
racing.
They could care less. So if we look at Clayton, the area in Manchester, which very working class, older part of the city, and what Abu Dhabi has come in and renovated that part of the city. They purchased land there. They've got practice facilities, medical facilities, training facilities. They've got 4 stadiums,
The women's
for
team.
women's and youth football. Yeah, it looks like a sprawling campus. It looks like you're going to Stanford University or something like that. And so when you have these state, funded entities, money is no object, and they just want to see winning. And another thing is they're in it for the long haul. They're until you can say, well, until they get bored, they're going to walk away from it.
Yeah,
they're
into a venture like this
playing the
for the
long
hell of
game.
it. This is business.
I saw today someone said that I would not want our club to be backed by some human rights.
Yeah, that's a big.
But
Yeah, that's a big. That's a big. Obviously,
whose
a big
money's
concern.
clean though? Whose money's clean?
Exactly. But at the end of the day, you know what? It's like Vegas. Vegas wasn't built on fucking winners, was it? Right. And
No, but everybody goes there.
Right. They might be state funded, and they may put a lot more into the community up front, and I appreciate that, and they're doing that. But don't ever think that anybody with that kind of money doesn't care about making money, because this minute you stop caring about making money, you're broke. Right? And the chat, Jim Radcliffe, ages anybody.
I hear what you're saying, English, but I think whoever buys it understands there's got to be a whole lot of money put in.
Oh, no, listen, I agree. What I'm saying is that anybody who puts money in wants money back in it eventually. I think the 3-year window is unachievable, because Old Trafford would take
the 3-year window scares
3 years to rebuild Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Let alone
you're right.
the youth system.
That's a good point.
And we're not even talking about building the team and the culture of the football team and the players, and et cetera, and the youth, and building that up and giving them an environment that they can perform in, they can flourish in. I think it's great but don't forget that the class of '92, the boys in the background, they're doing a lot out there too. The Salford and so I just don't buy oh yes, we're going to do this for nothing. We're just going to build this in McGill. I think it's great, it's happening, but in my experience in life is eventually there's always hey, come here. Remember what I just did for you? But
yeah.
Right?
Well, there's the angle, like, too, if you look at like City or Newcastle, and they've just dumped money into the club, and now the club's playing really well. Of course, they're going to see more substantial returns because the team is winning. And I think that's kind of where the Glazers fell short, is they either didn't realize that, which makes them even stupider than I thought, or they just didn't give a shit. Unfortunately, I think it's the latter. But, if you have, somebody from Kuwait or Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia, whatever it is, coming in and saying, yeah, we'll dump £1 billion into the club after we buy it, and we'll pay off the debt, we'll renovate the stadium, Carrington, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, of course they're going to want some money back, but at that point you'd hope that we would actually be sort of on the ascent even more so, and then it would make sense for them to want money back, and the supporters would be happy because we're playing well. the stadium and the club and the manager's been backed and all these sorts of things. So and that's the difference I think now between the Glazers and potential new owners with money is like, they'll throw money in and they'll take money out, but they'll also make the team successful in the process, exactly like we've seen with City and Newcastle in less than a year.
We got to remember what
last year.
We can't lose the roots of football by becoming so sterile about this, And don't forget, the world's changing. What makes the money for these individuals in those countries, right, is running out. It's not. They're diversifying. They got to start looking around.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the Industrial Revolution, and everything's changing.
Sure.
They're not. Again, I love the fact that they are giving into Manchester, but people, unfortunately, the older you get, they don't do something for nothing.
Yeah.
But like the City group was whoever owned City. Last year is the first year they made money. How long they owned the team?
Like at least 6-7 years.
2008, I think.
Well, has it been that long?
2008, right? Yeah. Yeah. So last year is the first year they made money. So 3 years that's what I think. That's kind of ambitious, but I don't want that to be discouraging to us though, because it's going to take someone with major pockets. And I'm going to tell you, I love Ratcliffe, but I worry about him. I worry about if he can take on this project because he's worth 10 bill.
Well, I don't think he's going to do it.
I think by himself. I know.
Yeah. So you never know. I mean, he could have. He's worth 20+ billion. He could bring 2 or 3 other guys, and you would hope that he would vet them and say, "Listen, you may have the money too with me, but I'm running the shit. I'm an actual fan," and maybe he'll find some of his mates that are fans too. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think Bandito's right. Though. He's about business, and actually, as much as he's a Manchester United fan, he worries me more on the business only level than the others. But I would love to see him because he's a fan, but like Death, he is clean cut and fair play to him. I'm not knocking him. Business has to be business. No one does anything to lose money.
Yeah. Well, business is like you can't have a successful business if you don't put money into it at the end of the day. So, what you give is what you get, you'd hope with Ratcliffe. So he'd be willing to give. And if, like I said, if we're successful and he's taken a little bit, fair play, like fine, he's entitled to that. But you got to invest in the team and everything around it. And that's what we've not seen these last 17 years. So that's why we are where we are.
They need to be able to invest and understand that it's a sporting thing. So competition can change our success, but they still have to be able to build the infrastructure and all that, because teams are competing right now.
The business of football and the football business, man, they got to be separate. You got to have 2 different entities. You got to have the manager do this, the football side do this, and the businessman do this.
Yeah.
So, I'm not gassed on it though. Go ahead, Bandito.
Yeah. So earlier, the Minister of Sports in Saudi Arabia has come out and said he would support a private investor, not a state investor,
really,
to bid on Manchester United. So that's one thing where you have someone who's beholden to the Saudi crown, and then the Saudi crown also owning a club, which is Newcastle. So there's a conflict of interest there. And like I was saying, you've got Abu Dhabi, who is the top boy, if you will, of the Arab Emirates. So I was doing a little research on this weekend. So you got, they're the kind of the top boy of the EU. They're oil rich, and then you've got Dubai, who is not as oil rich and doesn't have as much influence. So they're kind of beholden to Abu Dhabi as well. So, but they're a little more diversified in their gross national product. But then you have that conflict of interest, right? Is the league, like English was saying, is the league going to stand up to this, or are they just? The Premier League is run by the owners, right? That's the reason they broke away from the championship. They wanted to be run by the owners and not the FA. So is the league going to, stand up to this type conflict of interest.
They would be hypocritical if they did.
They already opened the doors with Chelsea, right? They opened the doors with City, and they're continuing to do it with
Well,
Newcastle.
don't forget, Chelsea was a forced sale, though, right?
I'm talking originally.
Yeah, that's not.
Okay, when you were talking about when Abramovich bought it. Okay.
Yeah, so they kind of already opened they knew who, they knew Russian oligarch, what that was all about, and they still welcomed it. So it'll be interesting to see if they're gonna raise up these issues.
Yeah, but you see, Dubai's, it's all about competition over there. The tallest building, whatever it is, the Rolls Royce, the biggest Rolls Royce, the baddest, etc., etc. I mean, I've worked there plenty of times, and it's and that's what that's all about. Then you got the royalty, the fires. It's a game. It's one-upping.
Yeah, they wanna one up Qatar and PSG.
Yeah, when we used to have
that's what they want.
You got a guy who wants a Rolls Royce, so he buys one that's 2 miles away from the hotel, right? So the next guy, he wants to buy one that's a mile away from the hotel because it's a bit closer, just to one up the. That's the kind of ridiculous thing you're talking about. But I think it really has to come down again about the fans need to have a say. Of course, fans also have to understand that business is a business. No one's going to put that kind of money up without making money. But they've also got to have an investment in the team, the youth, the players. And I don't mean going out and spending $200 million in January, which they won't. All right, to bring in one player, because that's not going to fix it. You've got to go back to the youth. We've got to build from the bottom. This is a 5 to 10 year project with the team and with the infrastructure around it. 5, maybe 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
But we have to remember the core values. Like Bandito was telling me, I was absolutely appalled at that story. Okay, because that is a mecca. That's seriously, it's like that's a pilgrimage.
Yeah, but that's from the top people that was sending that shit down. That's our owner.
You lead from the top, my friend.
Yeah.
Another time, I go to the Cliff. I had a pal from Salford showed me around. We go to the Cliff. We want to go in. They say no, just maybe you just take a picture from the car park and that's it. And the same thing. I was just really distraught. And
maybe
it's just this is not how they should be doing. Fans, maybe it's just me.
It's not him. Look at him.
Well, which brings us.
Maybe the guy's seen American Me or something. He's like, oh shit.
which brings us to the next point, which is how important supporter input and open communication is. Like we were saying, because we've seen with Reynolds and McElhenney and Wrexham, and how they were going around the town having a pint with the locals, chatting with the mayor of Wales and the current commissioner or whoever that guy was at Wrexham, and they having to plead their case essentially in order to be okayed for it to be so. And one of the biggest parts of that, especially for forgive me, small club like Wrexham, is that it means everything to the supporters, much like Manchester United does to the supporters. So you've got to figure too that the new potential owners would have to understand that. And I think you mentioned that earlier, Bandito, something like that should be written expressly in the contract of the buyer, that you have to interact with the supporters, and you can't pull a Joel and Avram dickhead Glazer and just hide out in your Florida fucking beachside 26 bedroom mansion or whatever it is.
I understand that. I understand football is a business, and ultimately the owners are take whatever path they're going to take, but you would like them to be open to some sort of supporters trust, where they're getting input, they're communicating what is their plan for the club, what is their plan for the grounds, what is their plan for the city.
Be transparent.
It means everything. It means everything, and we haven't had it, which is.
I agree. I think the only problem is I don't know. I drew the analogy, but the problem with the only problem is that Old Trafford would always sell out at this point, no matter what, right? Wrexham relies on their fans, okay, week in, week out, also to put money in the pockets of the owners. So
Sure.
there's a little difference there, obviously, but there has to be input of fans because they can't afford the walkouts. I don't think they want to have the aggravation of Glazers out kind of thing with a new owner. I think they want to be loved. They want the support. Because sooner or later, as much as it break your heart, listen, we've seen it in the number of people that join us in the pub, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. As when we were bang on top, you could move in the boozer at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, it's now that obviously doesn't affect them in their pocketbook, as it stands. But eventually, the snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I'm kind of piggybacking on the interview Gary Neville had with the lovely,
saw that.
talented.
I saw that too.
Yeah, Melissa Reddy on Sky Sports, where he kind of talked about. He called it a manifesto, I think, even.
Yeah.
There's a list of things that potential owners would agree to, and that would, it was ultimately fan experience, which is the grounds, and then ultimately leading to United winning and competing every year for the Premier League and competing and winning Champions League. That's the whole reason for the change, right? Is that we want to see that, and we want to see owners that actually care about the fans and the club.
But what do you think when you talk about the fan experience? What is that? Is that the songs being changed and not being allowed to be sung? Is that going in there like you're going into a bloody Vegas attraction? The fan experience, the theatre of dreams and the lights.
No, it just means.
Or are we talking about going to a football stadium and
it could be safe standing. It could be safe standing. It could be improvement.
The fan experience just means.
The
fan experience just means at Old Trafford.
I what you're saying. What is their perception of a fan experience going to be? Don't forget, you're talking about people that are putting money into a business who want to see money back, right? You got to remember, when I started watching football, you were lucky if you could buy a football jersey, right? Like nowadays, you buy anything with Manchester United on it, right? Merchandise. So the football experience has changed.
I have underwear,
right? Oh, thanks, Jay. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You told me you didn't have any.
So let's talk. This is dividing some of the fan base as well, but let's just put it out there.
Let's do it.
Old Trafford redevelopment, or new ground somewhere around the city, and then does that mean United would not be able to play at Old Trafford for a season or two?
It can be done. They would have to build over it. They're showing a model they could do it.
Yeah,
But
to
it's a
build
pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it should be just a leveling of Old Trafford and then building up a new stadium or anything like that. I mean, I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think the stadium's too far gone to where it can't be just kind of fixed. And we're not talking about, Band-Aids over cancer or anything like that. I mean, I think if we see a proper owner that says, okay, the stadium is in shambles, we need to fix it up, I think they'd be able to do it. I'd like to see Old Trafford, because I know that there was some sort of article that came out last year or something like that said the Glazers were thinking about tearing down Old Trafford to build a new stadium. And it was like, you can't tear down Old Trafford.
It's a museum.
You gotta fix it. You can't.
Again, it's all God forbid the Glazers drive through Manchester and they stop and they look and say, oh my God, they're going to tear down Old Trafford and they're going to build here. If they tore down Old Trafford, then the football experience it wouldn't be Manchester United. Then
That's a big part of it for sure.
As far as I'm concerned, if they built somewhere else, then it would be the pure sign of whatever they sold us when they bought the club is BS, because they want a new stadium to start again. God forbid, next thing they'll change the name. It'll be the Manchester United Dons or something. The Manchester Redskins, for Christ's sake, or whatever.
My Lord!
Now American football's going over there once a week too, to Wembley. I think they could do it stand by stand. They've got to come up with a plan to redevelop anyway. I mean, how long does that take? Planning permission, environmental impacts, You know, you're not going to walk in and go, I want to buy Manchester United. Oh, here's my idea. You know, that's a year. That's another.
How long did Tottenham take? Like 3 years?
But they built a whole new stadium.
Well, that's supposed to be.
Oh, and they built this whole new stadium next to it, right?
I don't know if it was next to it,
Yeah,
but
they can't do that though.
yeah, but
I
they
saw
played.
United People's, Sam Peoples. They showed some engineers saying it could be done. It's not a. It's just if you got this, it can be done.
There ain't that
Right.
much land either. It's not like
Yeah, so the idea is to build on. So there's one stand that is a single stand, and the idea is to build, you know, two-tiered stand, but there's railroad lines, you know, right. So you'd have to build over that and then support it. I believe that the land's already been purchased.
build over the infrastructure that creates Manchester United, the railway, right? There you go.
Well,
Awesome.
no, the trains actually go through the stadium.
Yeah, but they also want to put the hotels around it, right? With the you know, the suites and the viewing suites and everything else. So you know, again, I'm sure it can be done. But you know, you look back at the old days, there were more fans going to watch football in the 1800s, you know, early 1900s than there are now. You know, 80,000 people. Yeah, so
I still feel like I just don't trust it though. I don't trust it. I feel like I think they want to get investors.
I agree. I don't think I've said all along, when they're ready to sell, they'll sell. Until it doesn't matter if we have one serious buyer, 10 serious buyers. They will not sell until they want to sell. Okay?
Well, the club is.
Wait, yeah, and don't forget, we as much as we hate them, 200 million last in the transfer window was the highest Manchester United spent in the transfer window for a long time.
It was like 240 actually.
Long time, you know.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we shy away from the January transfer market a lot. Also, people forget that. You know, rumors going all they want. United does not have a history of. They don't like the overinflated price of players in January. You know, but they spend a lot of money.
They have to get somebody in January.
So let me talk about what Face brought up. Is we know the Glazers. We have these ideas about what we want and what we hope for in a new ownership, right? But the Glazers, if someone said this, you know, if Satan was going to give you $1 more, you know, the Glazers are going to sell to Satan.
Business.
So, you know, don't expect them to take, you know,
they're like, here's my friend Satan, he's taking over.
The next caretaker of the club and the savior. You know, it's whoever has $1 more.
I was just thinking about South Park and Satan and
But it'd be perfect segue. Like if the Glazers said, "Hey, we got a new buyer. He's perfect. Come on, Satan."
That's thumbnail right there. South Park. Okay.
That's the only buyers that could be worse than the Glazers. It was Satan. Like, hey, Satan.
Yeah. I mean,
And then the running joke is you know, they're going to sell to, you know, Dubai. And then they're gonna go and buy Liverpool. That would be the dream.
Yeah.
And they'll combine the two teams. Monster.
Oh God. Yeah, I know. Tony.
Well, how do you guys feel about Liverpool is also up for sale? Do you think that's gonna hurt us?
I think that's why they put that's one of the reasons why they put the club up for sale, right? So you already have a group from Chelsea that showed interest. It's the same banking outfit that did the evaluation for Chelsea and handled that bid. That's who the Glazers are using. So they already know who's real and who's got the money, right? So
that's how I feel.
You know, the reason they're doing this is because, let's face it, Manchester United is bigger than Liverpool. And if you're gonna go out and buy a club, you're gonna buy the Rolls Royce, which is Man United, not the fucking Dodge, which is Liverpool.
I think that's
Man
what
United's got to be
Gary
a
Neville
billionaire's
was
dream. Like if you can bring Man United, bring us back to where we been, you're a legend. It's like you're gonna make your money. We're gonna sing songs about you, you know. And it's just awesome to be like, oh yeah, I did this.
If we're still allowed
we're
to.
back, but. This is a whole different time.
So yeah, things like you said,
who-
things are happening fast. Those rumors are going around, and we're just trying to get our heads around it and discuss it here because we know this is the same thing that you guys, the audience is doing with their homies, talking about the pros and cons and the likelihood and the unlikelihood and what's going to
Can
happen
I
with the
ask you guys
club.
about a happy situation? How do you feel about our kids? Our guys are playing well right now. Is that Ten Hag's training? Because our guys look good in the World Cup.
I think it's the atmosphere that he's bringing back into United.
Yeah, I think
listen, I've ever since Pogba started, I've called it the Pogba syndrome. But the attitude was not there. The prima donnas, I'm this, I'm that. I don't care how good a football you are. Obviously, you want the best in the world, but you still got to be a team. You still got to have respect. You have a responsibility to your teammates, to fans. Everything else. Again, it's like a movie star. You got responsibility to the fans. You buy the tickets, bums on seat stuff. That's what puts the money in your pocket. All right. When people are singing songs about you, and that's a dream you have as a child, and you achieve that, you have a responsibility. And I think he's creating an atmosphere where it's a privilege to play football. You have to play for your team. You have to play for the badge. You have to play for the badge. You have a responsibility. And I think that atmosphere is definitely showing itself in national teams right now. The guys are having fun. There's one thing I say about England, as much as their game against USA was just appalling, is as an Englishman watching England every 4 years, you're, oh my God, this is going to be our year, right? It never is. This is the first time I've seen players, Manchester United players and players from other teams actually playing together. The rivalries that they face week in, week out in the Premier League has seemed to have somewhat been put on hold for this World Cup. And I think that I saw that today, and I saw that in their first game. So I think our guys are enjoying themselves. Rashi's just on fire right now. His confidence level is just exploding.
yeah, he is.
And United players have done well. Casemiro's goal, fantastic, right? Fernandez, it's all of it. And the guys that throw their toys out the pram, Mr. Cristiano, are beginning to be, and that's what a team should be. If you're not good for us, see ya.
The player power, what it used to be, right? It was all just player power. That seems to be. I don't know if it's gone, but it's definitely, Ten Hag is the boss. He's the boss.
Right. Yeah. Like class of '92, they respected Fergie, they respected Eric, right? And they did, even though they were fantastic players, they became, and as they got bigger and bigger and bigger, they were still a team. They were playing with their mates, And I said before about City. You look at City when they're playing football right now. Forget that they're winning; they're enjoying themselves, right? Okay, they're not just smiling because they're scoring. They're smiling, they're having their mates having a good time. Everything's going right because they're having a good time. You got to leave that bullshit that was with Pogba, etc. The prima donnas, the agents. You cannot have a part. It's no part for that in a team sport, right?
I think the best football is ahead of them too. I think they're going to play a lot freer now because somebody's not in the house anymore. I think they're going to be a lot more relaxed. I think they're not going to be. I know there's about 3 games we wasted trying to feed somebody. Let's get him the ball. Let's get him the ball. And I think that's going to be gone. Guys we're going to look so much more fluid.
We make a good buy in January for the centre back, which you've got guy from Ajax they're talking about, and we fixed that the issue at the back there. I think we're going to be astounding.
Wait.
You mean center forward? Because we need a center forward.
Center forward.
No. I'm talking about centre back. Talking about a guy from Ajax, right? Centre half. I think.
Is it the guy that Louis told not to come?
Timber. He's a left back or right back or something.
Timber?
I think.
Centre half. They're talking about from Ajax. Anyway, I'll Google it in a minute. I'll figure it out.
But he already played. He already played with. Some people said that our guy Lisandro Martinez is like. He's just taking over Argentina because they didn't play him the first half in that game when they lost, and then since that they said they can't nobody fuck with Argentina no more. God, I'm so happy we signed him. He was going to go to Arsenal.
Yeah, that would have been terrible.
We took him from Arsenal. That would have been horrible.
Yeah, but I think going forward we're gonna have some good football in the second half of the.
I really do too.
because the guys are going to come back. They're confident. You know, if you got Bruno, you know, as the captain leading the guys, you know, and he's a captain's captain. He's a player's captain, I think. You know, De Gea's still in the back solid. You know, Luke Shaw's having a good World Cup. You know,
Maguire played good. I hate to say it.
he did all right. He did all right. Yeah, but one game, you know, I mean, I got a right bollocking from somebody on one of my comments on my YouTube because he's like, stop hating on Maguire. I'm like, dude, this is why we have a channel, because we can disagree on stuff, you know. You know, the guy's obviously a huge United fan. He's got a lot of knowledge, but you know, he doesn't like that. I don't like Maguire, but you know, that's why we have the debate, you know. And he's a total gentleman about it, which I appreciate. But you know, today, if he touched that with his head, Rashford wouldn't have got that, you know. But not that any three of you even watched it. So
yeah, I didn't see it today.
So
did you even see a USA game? Anybody? No,
not really.
Me?
No.
Bandito's completely boycotting.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just strictly us.
Wait,
I mean, I look for injuries. I check the injury reports. That's about it.
You dance today, though, from Senegal, man.
Let's take out the team that you or the nation that you support. As a pure United fan, who would you want to see come back World Cup medal? So we've got 3 players in Brazil. We've got 1 player Argentina.
3 at well, 2 at Portugal now.
I can tell you, it definitely wouldn't
Portugal.
be.
Who would you want to come back with that medal? Luke Shaw, Rashford, and your favorite Maguire. What do you think?
I mean, I would still like, even though I support England, I would still like to see, even if I'm trying to be unbiased, I would still like to see England do it, just because they've come so close. I mean, not so close, but they should have been in the running more times than they were, and for whatever reason, they just couldn't pull it together.
So for you, it'd be England winning, Rashford Golden Boot, and carrying that momentum into what are we're gonna win FA Cup, and we're gonna be second.
Yeah, we're winning the FA Cup,
Premier League, and we're gonna do Europa.
What do you think, Mad Face?
I'd love to see Eric. Is Denmark still in it?
Yeah, but they're not going to go through, I don't think.
They're not going to go through. So there goes that. Thanks. That was my fantasy. You guys said I had one wish, one fantasy. You'd like to see someone come back with it. I just want to see Ericsson come back with it. That's it.
Okay.
That'd be dope.
You guys just shit it on my parade. Like, it's going to rain that day.
It'd be cool, but they're out, so it's not possible.
Just suck it up there in Scandinavia.
I mean, before the whole Ronaldo fiasco went down, I would have said Portugal, just because it's Ronaldo's probably his last World Cup, and you got to figure like that's the last missing piece on his mantle, pretty much.
I would be okay with Bruno getting it. I'd be okay with Bruno.
Bruno and Delo.
Bruno and Diego.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be okay with Cristiano getting it, because I think he deserves it the way he's played. I think it's just a little bit sad, this last chapter, unfortunately. But you know, well, I can guarantee you one country it wouldn't be, Ben. You know, it's I would have to say, you know, you leave me really no option other than Brazil. You know, I mean,
yeah,
it would have to be. I mean, they do play some beautiful football. You know,
Casemiro, Fred,
Anthony,
and then isn't what's their?
We don't have any Saudi players.
What's his name?
What's that?
We have no Saudi players.
Who's our right back or our left back on loan? He's also a Brazilian player.
Our left back on loan. I can't think of his name right now. Would be cool to maybe see Argentina win it.
It was Luke Shaw's backup.
The World Cup, my friend.
Yeah, that'd piss off Cristiano if Argentina won it.
Why can't I think of Luke Shaw's backup right now? It's not, well, are you talking about
last year? He's on loan in Portugal right now, I believe.
God, he's got his name already. Oh
Pereira? No, right.
No, Teles.
Oh yeah, Teles. Alex,
we are assholes. We just completely forgot about him. He's on loan. He's still ours.
On
Yeah,
loan. Yes, on
Yeah, he's
loan.
on loan. But imagine if Argentina won it and Lisandro brought it home and fucking Garnacho brought it home. Imagine if Garnacho wins the World Cup at 18, 19.
He should be here.
Oh, he's not on the squad.
My hand of God, PTSD is going to kick in.
Yeah,
again.
they didn't bring him up. They didn't call him up for it.
Oh, I
They
guess
did
that
not.
shows you how much
He's in
World Cup
Manchester.
I've been watching.
I bet, Bandito, I bet you the guy that wrote that book, I bet you me and him were in the same boozer the day that Argentina.
Oh,
Maradona
no
scored that.
no ticket required.
Yeah, I bet you were in the same pub in Christchurch when
So
Maradona scored.
Yeah, let's do 1878 Casuals Book Club. Tell people watching what book you're talking about.
I got these ones. You should all read these if we're talking about that. Men in Black, Tony O'Neill, Grafters,
I
Beaner,
haven't
Colin
read Men
Blaney,
in Black.
and my
I
favorite
haven't read Men
one.
in Black yet.
My favorite one, Perry Boys. That's my favorite one. Shout out to Sam Smart on the cover over here. Where is he? Right here, I think.
Yeah, so I let English read a book.
Can I get
Here
Play?
he goes,
I
here
can't
he
put
goes.
Playboy up here, right?
You got to read your books, people.
read your
Yeah,
books.
Casey, it's upside down.
Is it?
There's no
So
pictures in it.
this author is from the same town, and he's about the same age as you as well.
He's about a couple of years older than me. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
I
the
need
way
the Men in
the way
Black.
this book is written, it's like he talks about each ground that he's done a jib at, and how it went, and multiple times that he's done it. So he's all over England, he's all over Europe. Really good book. The chapters read really quickly. Called No Ticket
What
Required.
book is this? Oh, no ticket required?
Yeah.
Who's going to give me that as a Christmas gift? Wow, don't everybody raise your hand.
Well, I would, but there are no pictures in it.
That's
It's not an audiobook, Casey. Oh, we just lost Casey.
Yeah, he's like, that's it. That's it.
Oh,
Doing
it's
a
funny.
Cristiano.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, we should definitely.
Actually, it's very, very interesting. I just, like I said, I just couldn't. In the book, it doesn't embellish on where he went to school and stuff, which obviously he probably won't want to put in there. So maybe we can reach out to him somehow. But I'm enjoying it so far.
Sorry about that. I hit the earplugs.
Oh, all good. And
I got to remember, I do that. It turns me off. It turns me on, and then it turns me off.
started this one. I got to check this one out too. Grafters, Colin Blaney. And if you haven't read The Undesirables, that's another really good one by Colin Blaney.
I have the Grafters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuff.
he's also got Manchester Mavericks, 25 Mavericks from the Manchester area. Another good read from Colin.
What's up, Halo? Making the cameo.
You know, he's got to get his appearance in somehow, and
What do you think about the foreign bids, Halo? What's your input?
he's like,
What's a German?
ass, you know.
Yeah. He's German. We should.
Yeah. No Germans. No. He's German. He's not Munich. So we're good. It's a good boy. Now, what do you think?
Does Mark have an Ericsson kit?
He's been going nuts the whole World Cup because he's used to the football being on at home. Mark coming over during COVID to watch the game. So as soon as he hears the football on TV, he's at the front door going, and he's going spastic. So poor guy. You know, God bless him. There you go.
All right.
Bad life of a 50-year-old bachelor, his dog.
Funny. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up with that.
I miss seeing y'all faces. Other than this shit.
Only 3 more weeks. Our first game back.
So listen, I know it's currently not watching the whole cup, but are we going to get together for the final to watch the final? Depending on who is in it or not, or what?
We'll see who's in it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's Cameroon versus
Senegal.
I don't know. Oh, Senegal. See,
It's gonna be Senegal. It's gonna be Senegal versus Australia. You wait and see.
is Japan,
Saudi
is Japan still in it?
What's that?
Is Japan still in it?
Japan's still in it. Germany's out,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
which is
I
wild.
mean, dude, Jeremy, I don't know. Is Bayern Munich that good? Can they beat us?
I mean, Bayern Munich's always good,
Oh, they still.
but we'll see. I don't know. All right, guys, that's it on our video. Appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We're at 700. Help us
Comment.
get us to 1,000 in the next 4 minutes. That would be great. Like I said, appreciate you guys watching. This is the 1878 Casuals with English, Mad Face, Bandito Mike. I'm Patch. Like and subscribe. More videos coming to you. Appreciate you guys. See you next time. Glazers out.